Mr. Jenkins, you reached out to the court to open a case. You believe that you have a long-lost daughter and hoped to one day find her to prove you are her father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So we've located the woman you believe is your daughter, and she's here in court today. But she does not believe you are her father. So, Ron, can you please escort Ms. Bond into the courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Stand behind the left podium.
Thank you for joining us, Ms. Bond. So, before the court contacted you, had you ever heard of Mr. Jenkins?
No, I've never heard of Mr. Jenkins. None of my family members have spoken on him. I also like to submit this as evidence. His name isn't even on my birth certificate.
Ron, can you pass me that evidence, please? So, you don't believe he's your father?
No, Your Honor.
Because you've never heard of him?
Never heard of him. No one has ever spoken of him. I've never seen any pictures. My mother never even spoke of him, brought him up in no conversations whatsoever.
So this is your birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor.
And under father's legal name, nothing is recorded?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you were raised by a man that you believe, you were told was your biological father?
Yes, he died in a car accident in 1999 with my mother, and I believe that that was my father.
So, Ms. Bond, ultimately, you come to court today completely in the dark.
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't have any information?
No information.
No one's ever told you anything?
No one's ever told me anything.
And Mr. Jenkins,
Yes.
you have known about this young woman all her life.
I've been looking for her over 24 years, Your Honor. Me and her mother was in college together. And I'm telling you, she was banging. I mean, she was bad. I mean, she had a nice big back porch on her. She had this pink jumpsuit on. And she used to wear this little black hat with an X on it. I mean, you know, that was like, she was like Lena Horne to me, you know.
Oh.
She was fine. I mean, she was fine. Light brown eyes. Miss Bond looked just like her.
Oh.
She ended up getting pregnant while we was living together.
Okay.
So during the times when we was living together, I was going to the doctor with her. I'd like to submit this here to the court, Your Honor.
Yes. Ron, can you hand me that evidence, please?
It's an ultrasound picture that I used to go to the hospital with her.
You did. So when you found out she was pregnant,
I was excited. I said, I got my first child. I got a girl. You know, I was just blown away. I was on top of the world.
So this is an ultrasound picture of Miss Bond.
Yes.
That you've saved all these years.
Over 24 years, I've been saving that picture right there.
If you guys were so close and you were so in love and everything, why did it take you so long to find me?
I've been doing everything I can do. Promise me.
Miss Bond, after your mom passed and your dad, who took care of you?
A relative on my mother's side.
Did you know she was there?
Yes, Your Honor.
So I'd like to hear more about what life was like after your mom and dad passed away for you, because now you're growing up without your parents.
I felt alone. You know, I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have anyone. I lost my mother.
Take your time, honey.
And my father. And I didn't have anybody. And I struggle, and I'm still struggling. I'm homeless. I'm trying to get my children. And I have no one on my side, and I just feel so alone. I feel like a part of me is really missing.
How many children do you have?
I have 2 sons.
I can see that this was very painful for you. I know what life is like to have to go on without your mother. I've lost my mother, and I can only imagine if it was your mother and the man you know as to be your father. So you basically raised yourself with the help of family.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Your Honor.
But you felt alone.
I always feel alone. I still feel alone. I cry myself to sleep every night because I don't have anyone.
Excuse me, Your Honor, she got me. You know, you don't have to worry about that. See, because I'm a man, I'm gonna step up and do what I gotta do. My job is to protect you and to love you, to show you how a man's supposed to treat you, you know.
And I miss that. I miss that growing up. I didn't have a father figure to tell me, you know, right from wrong, type of boys to date. I made a lot of wrong decisions and I made a lot of mistakes because I didn't have anyone there to guide me.
Well, you got me now. I want to love you. I'm going to be there for you. I want to support you. You know, I'm going to teach you how a man's supposed to treat you. You know, I'm a man. You know, I want a man for you like the man that I am.
I still have my doubts, though.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
I used to go over one of your family members' house. I used to come over there every Christmas. I used to go there. Kept me out on the porch. Played crazy on me. Played like she didn't know who I was. I knocked on doors. I'd like to submit one more thing to the court.
I have a Facebook page. If you went for social media, you could have found me.
I did everything I could do. I've been looking for you over 24 years.
Ron, let me see that evidence.
I'd like to submit this to the court. That's one of your numbers that I have. I had contacted Miss Bond before.
I've never received a call.
Was that your phone number, ma'am?
It might have been. I have so many numbers.
don't
I
remember?
really don't remember. I've never got a call. I've never got a text, a letter, nothing.
I've been Googling her. All these different sites. I've been doing all of this.
I don't understand. You've done all this and you still couldn't find me. I don't understand.
I put in the work.
So I want to know more about how did it end? It seemed like you all were in love and you were having a baby and you've got ultrasound pictures. What happened?
Outside people putting stuff in her head, turning her against me. The more I was trying to do things, we was both going to school.
I'm sorry, I still don't believe that's the reason to break up with someone, letting outside people get into your relationship. If you really loved her, you would have stayed, regardless of whatever was going on.
I did everything that I possibly could do. Matter of fact, she wanted to get married. She had asked my mother to marry me. During the time I was still in college, you know, I said, well, in my head, let me get me a good education and get a good job before I make that step, because during that time I wasn't ready. I wish I did.
So you regret that?
Yes, I do.
So once she wanted to get married and you felt like you weren't ready, was Ms. Bond here? Was the baby here? Had you had the baby?
I wasn't at the hospital, but once she was born, she got in contact with me. Me and my mother went to see the baby.
And that's a picture of Ms. Bond?
Yes, that's
a baby picture you have.
Exactly. And I've been having that picture over 24 years. I look at that picture all the time.
You believe that's Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Bond, have you ever seen that baby picture of yourself?
Seen that baby picture of myself.
That's you. I held her once in my life. I held her, and that was it. At that, about 2 weeks old.
You've never seen a picture of you as a baby, even with this same little onesie on?
I've never seen that picture, Your Honor.
Have you ever seen pictures of the day you were born?
No, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Jenkins,
Yes.
Did you ever come close to meeting Ms. Bond? I mean, after being there in the hospital, I don't even understand. How did you lose contact?
I lost contact, like I told you, after people got in her head, took her away from me. I went by there and left my phone number. And Xavier called me. And when she called me, I was excited. I was like, wow, here I can get my girl. I can see my baby now. I was just excited. And then I said, well, where are you?
You should have saw me regardless of whether or not she was in another relationship. You shouldn't have let anything get in between you being with her or you seeing me, being around me, raising me.
I didn't know where you was at.
I'm here now.
I thank God for this here show right now, because this is one of the ways that I found you. You know, because other than that, I was doing all the footwork. I was knocking on doors.
So when you left your phone number,
Yes.
and Ms. Bond's mother called you back,
Yes, she called.
did you make contact? Did you see her again?
No, I
She
didn't.
would have been around 8 years old?
Yes,
You didn't get to see her?
I didn't get to see her.
What happened?
I talked to her on the phone, and she said, in the next week or so, I'll let you see Andrea. I said, how she's doing? She's doing pretty good. A week later, I called her back at that number, and I had heard some bad news that she was in a bad car accident.
Oh, my goodness.
And here we go again. Now it's starting all over again.
She got killed in the car accident. You could have came to the funeral.
I was cut off from the funeral.
I still don't feel like you're my father. I'm sorry. Because if you were really my father, you would have tried harder. You would have been in my life regardless of anything that's going on.
And do you understand, Mr. Jenkins? I mean, this is a 24-year-old young woman, and yet there are some very real feelings that are just still from a young girl that's been through so much. I mean, it's hard for her to wrap her mind around the fact that there was no way for you to get to her.
I don't believe that at all.
So you don't think your family did that, Ms. Bond?
No.
So, Mr. Jenkins, do you think there was a possibility that Ms. Bond's mother didn't think you were the biological father?
No, I don't think that, Your Honor. She knew that I was the father.
I only say that because, of course, I sit in this chair day after day. And one case in particular sticks out in my mind where a gentleman was in a very similar position to you. I mean, he came to court, he knew this young woman was his daughter.
Yeah.
He had a baby picture of her. And yet, ultimately, it was determined he was not. Could it be possible that maybe there was something that you just missed?
No, Your Honor.
Right, because I'm saying, like, she never spoke of you, and I'm just trying to understand if you were really my father. In 8 years, she's never showed me a picture. She's never spoke of you. No one has ever spoke of you. This is my first time seeing you, hearing of you, so it's just hard for me to believe that you're my father.
I mean, I didn't want to end up getting into the point that I get in any trouble, but I pushed it as far as I could push it.
Well, I think that's one point, Ms. Bond, that I want to help Mr. Jenkins articulate better. When you submitted your birth certificate to the court, and under father, there was no name listed, because he was not listed, he doesn't have any rights to see you or to stake any claim to visit you, anything. And so, Mr. Jenkins, let me ask you this. What jump-started, accelerated this new search? And now it's been 24 years. And I mean, you contacted this court and you were looking for this young woman with a vengeance. You called this court every single day.
Not just a while back, you know, music artist Prince had died, and he didn't have any estate and nothing to leave any of his stuff to. So the things that I have, or the things that I accomplished in life, I would like to leave them to my daughter.
I still have
So when you look at Mr. Jenkins, Ms. Bond, and you look at him, do you see yourself at all? Do you say, I kind of feel like I look like him?
I look more like him to me, in my opinion.
You feel like you look more like the man you believe to be your father?
Yes.
All right, well, the only way to move forward, that's why we're here, is to get the results, and we have those for you. Ron, will you give me the envelope, please?
Yes, ma'am.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Jenkins versus Bond, when it comes to 24-year-old Andrea Bond, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Jenkins, you are her father.
I love you. 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 24 years. 24 years of doing footwork. And it paid off.
Yes, it
Thank
did.
you, God. I love you.
I love you too.
Paid off.
Well, y'all done got me crying now. This is one beautiful sight. This is exactly why we do this. So I am going to adjourn court, but I'd like to see you both in my chambers if you can spare a couple more minutes with me.
As long as you want to.
All right. I'm so happy you all found each other.
Thank you.
Court is adjourned. I'll see you in my chambers. Miss Clary, you are petitioning the court for a paternity test to prove to the defendant that he is the father of your son, Gage, who has multiple medical needs. You say Mr. Asenato owes you $15,000 in child support, and you demand he pays you what he owes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Asenato, you say there's no reason to pay any money for a child that you know is not yours, and claim to have bombshell evidence to prove that you're not the father. You state that when you return home, you'll go back to court to have the $15,000 you owe erased from your record. So, Mr. Asenato, I have to ask you, you owe $15,000
Your
in
Honor,
child
there's
support?
no way that I owe $15,000 on a child that's not
He
mine.
signed the birth certificate.
She's basically roped me into signing a birth certificate for a child that she told me that was mine and has taken me to court for child support. I've paid almost $15,000 in child support.
So you admit you do owe the child support?
Not on a child that it's not mine. No, ma'am.
But you said you signed the birth certificate.
I did sign the birth certificate. She made me believe that the child was mine by saying that she was only with me.
You did sleep with her?
I did, yes, ma'am.
You thought you were exclusively together, girlfriend, boyfriend, committed?
No, ma'am. She was married at the time.
Your Honor,
Oh.
no, when we first met, we both were married. When we both met, we were separated. I wasn't with my husband for a year and a half whenever I
Your
got
Honor,
to see
that's
my
not
son.
true.
Take me back.
Wait,
here.
I was
Let me
divorced when
understand
I
this
said-
relationship. When you met, you both were married.
I was separated from my wife and I moved into a townhouse, which
Okay.
was next to her and her husband.
And my
Okay.
ex-husband and I were going through issues and we're separating.
Okay.
So
you all began a sexual relationship,
Yes, ma'am.
but both of your marriages were not completely over at
That is
the time.
correct.
Tell me about the first night you all were intimate. How did this relationship begin?
We were hanging out next door and we were all friends, hanging over there shooting pool, drinking, watching movies, and everybody left except for me, and one thing kind of led to another. He made a pass at me, and
So you began a sexual relationship.
correct.
And how long did it continue before you found out you were pregnant?
That was in 2007. My son was born in 2011.
Oh, 4 years.
Exactly.
So
We
you all
lived
were living
together.
next door to one another for 4 years?
No,
and have-
ma'am. That's when we first met. We lived together on and off over the last 8 years. When my son was born, we were living together.
She was not living with me.
Yes, I was, and I
When
was
she
also
got
paying the
pregnant,
bills.
she moved in with me when she got pregnant because I wanted to do the right thing.
Well, she said that when her son was born, she was living with you. That was right.
Yes, ma'am.
That's correct.
That is correct. I'm
okay.
sorry.
So
Yes,
what
ma'am.
you're saying is when her son was conceived, she was not living
No,
with you.
ma'am,
But
she
I
was
spent
not.
6
So
out of
your
7
point
days a
is
week
you
at
don't
his
know
house.
if she was sleeping with someone else or not.
do know for a fact that she was with somebody else.
Oh, what do you know?
I know Crystal. Crystal was married when she came to my house on the first night.
But you
slept
know,
with
Your
me.
Honor, this other gentleman he's talking about, while we were not together, I was dating somebody else, and we split up 2 months prior to me getting pregnant with my son.
That's not true, Your
And then-
Honor. I know for a fact that on a specific night that she said that she was going out with this gentleman, I called her. Crystal never answered the phone. Not text, nothing. All day, all night. Next day, I get a hold of her. Crystal, where were you? Oh, I went out to dinner with this guy and I got sick and I was in the hospital.
He knew I was seeing somebody else, and what I'd done at that time was none of his business because we were not together.
Your Honor, we've never been together. It's just
Really,
been
but yeah, we got
basically a
8
fling.
years together. We lived together multiple
have one-
times.
So wait, let's get to the birth. I want to get to the birth.
Yes,
He was
ma'am.
at
You
the
say
hospital.
after she found out she was pregnant, you wanted to do the right thing.
I did.
You had her move in.
Yes, ma'am.
When Gage was born, you were living together.
Yes, ma'am. She
So
moved
you
into my house.
did you go to doctor's appointments? Did you
No, he
support
did
her
not,
through
Your
this?
Honor.
Did you go to the hospital when Gage was born?
I did.
He was at the hospital when the baby was born. My son was 5 weeks premature and 7'5". See that right there? There's a picture of him at the
Mr.
hospital with the
Asenato,
baby.
this is you.
Yes, ma'am.
In this picture right here, you had no doubt this child was yours.
No.
You thought you were having a child with your girlfriend that lived with you and you all were going to be a family.
No, ma'am. Crystal got pregnant because we were fooling around. I was doing the
We
right
were
thing.
never
We were
fooling,
not
just fooling around. We
gonna
were
have a
together. I left
relationship.
a relationship and a marriage also for this man on
that
multiple
is not
occasions,
true.
on and off for 8 years.
So you believe you're paying child support for a child that is not yours.
Absolutely.
And you think that's unfair.
Your Honor,
I
what
think-
But you
have to
do
is
realize
what
under
you
the
have
law
to
that
bring.
once you sign a birth certificate,
I do.
you are considered the legal father.
Yes,
and you are responsible
Yes, ma'am.
for child support.
And I have been responsible. I have the payments right here.
He pays
Jerome,
it
will
when
you
it's
please pass me
convenient
Mr.
for him, Your
Asenato's
Honor.
evidence? What is
Now
this
we have
evidence
tied back up
pertaining
This is
to?
all my payments that I've made except for the 8 months that I've been out of work. Being that I've been paying these
He was working
$1,000
cash
at
those 8
first,
months.
the first
First 4
year
months.
I was at my job working in the oil field, it was $1,026 a month for one child. One child, okay?
But you know, Your Honor,
I'm
I was
not an NBA
paid-
player.
I was paid
I'm not a movie star.
$123
I work in the oil
$125 a week.
field. Anyways, regardless of that, she's
Because
always
he
making
quit his job.
accusations that I'm a deadbeat. I don't pay
He
my
is a
child support
deadbeat.
payments. You
He
can
don't
see
pay-
on that
he just
paper
started in the last
that you
6
can
months
see I've
because
made
I got
all
it
my
tied back
payments
up in
except
court.
for
The
that
last
first
year
8
I got it
months.
back in court because he was not paid. He's only denying our child because of child support.
So at some
And
point you filed and
I filed
petitioned the
because
court.
I told him my son needed diapers. He's like, you're such a whore. Go work the street corner for diapers. So I turned around and went and filed child support. That's when he started denying my son.
When did your doubt set in and why?
Gage had a lot of medical problems when he was a baby. He had colic, he had ear infections, he had multiple problems. He had
2 weeks in the
infections.
hospital. Mr. Asenato never once called, never once showed up. He called maybe twice the 2 weeks.
I have a 20-year-old son, okay? My son's never been sick. My son was born at 9 pounds, 8 ounces, okay? This child was
My
born
son-
at 6 pounds. He didn't look
No,
anything like
Your
my
Honor,
other son.
that's a lie. My son
son's
was
never
5
been sick.
weeks
We don't
premature
have
and
any of these
7'5".
sicknesses in my family going back centuries.
But
we
also
don't
the
have
doctor
any disease,
did
any sickness,
state, the
any
doctor
of
also
that.
stated this medical issue that my son has.
Mr. Asenato, I hate to say, but that evidence is
It's-
irrelevant.
My son has thalassemia, which is a medical condition that comes from Italian, is a Mediterranean descent. He is full-blooded Italian. I'm Native American.
Hold on, Miss Clary, go back and explain this to me. Your
My-
son has a medical issue that he deals with called
Thalassemia.
thalassemia.
And it's an inherited, it's a genetic blood disorder, and it comes from people of the Mediterranean
You brought
descent,
evidence to explain that,
of
Jerome.
Mediterranean
Please hand that to
descent.
me.
Todd is full-blooded
What
Italian.
evidence is that? She prints it up off of online? Really? Is that
And
evidence?
this is what I do.
Thalassemia.
Whenever we're fighting, all of a sudden my son's not his. When we're getting along, he loves his son. That's his son. It's when we're not
I'm
getting along or the child support.
not
That's the
denying-
whole
no,
issue is child
that's
support.
All right, let's get some order. Let's get some order. This evidence says that thalassemia is an inherited
Yes, Your Honor.
blood disorder, which basically the body makes abnormal blood. But it's most frequently found in people of Mediterranean descent,
Correct.
African Americans, and people of Asian origin.
Correct.
Now, Mr. Asenato, you're not African American.
I am not.
You're not of Asian
I
origin.
am not.
But are you of Mediterranean descent?
I'm Italian. I don't know
Which
if
is
that. I believe
Mediterranean.
so. Right.
So the answer would be yes.
yes, ma'am.
So
And I'm
this
Irish.
is one of the main issues that you feel like you don't understand why he's denying
Exactly.
that Gage could
Because-
potentially be his.
exactly. And
Are
the
you of
doc-
Mediterranean descent?
No, ma'am. I'm Native American and Irish.
But the gentleman that she was with is
No,
Mediterranean.
the gentleman that I was with 2 months prior to conceiving my son is Hispanic.
Hispanic.
You just listed off a series of medical issues that don't preclude you from being the biological father.
and I
I need to hear
understand
more about your doubt.
My doubt is the child looks nothing like me at the time when I had this doubt. This was last December.
Your Honor, my son
okay?
looks just like me.
Last December,
and,
I took-
last I checked, I was his mother. See, that's my how can you not love that baby? You know, in fact, a friend of mine sent me an app to try that shows you the comparison, even that of how much Gage looked like Todd whenever he.
Your Honor, I
ago.
could pull up apps online and just send them to
I have it
people.
here.
It doesn't mean anything.
What is this app?
You pull up the parents and does a comparison, and it shows he looks like he has so much.
So you submit
athleticism.
photos, you put them in this app, and then the app will calculate the percentage of likeness,
Yes.
meaning this one determined that Gage looked 68.3%
Of me.
like his father.
Yes, ma'am.
And 31%.
And then
of her.
31.7% like you.
So I'm sure if I picked out somebody from the audience and sent that
Your Honor,
in with
he's
her
very
engaged,
talkative, very
it would
charming.
be
He's one of
same
these types that
percentage.
can con an alley cat out of a tuna dinner. I mean, he's very charming. He's very, you know, he's going to make you believe anything you want to believe. I loved you for some stupid reason.
Regardless, Your Honor, this is what's come to
The
the
only
point
thing
of
is
this.
our son is the one that's suffering. The only reason I agreed to this is because my son is 4. Now he wants to do this because of child support. My son does not deserve this.
I don't want to do this because of child support. I want to
It's
do
all.
this because of medical.
You know, he waits 4 years. My son is 4. My son knows him. That's his daddy. And then now he wants to do this. Gage knows him as his daddy.
And this is really upsetting to you because you feel that it's about money. And
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't believe it's about Gage.
Yes, Your Honor, exactly.
And you believe Gage is hurting because of this.
Exactly.
Because in his mind, that's his daddy.
Exactly, that's his daddy.
So what is your
Father.
relationship like with Gage?
Oh, I love him. He's my little man.
Then why are we
Do
here?
anything for him. I'm here because if that child gets sick and he needs something, and a organ or blood or whatever, I'm not his biological
You are
father.
his biological father.
His biological
Your
father
own
needs
mother,
to
when he
stand
was
up. He
first
needs to
born,
know
said
who
he
his
looked just
biological
like you.
father is.
Then whenever he was
And
a
if
couple weeks
something
old,
happens to him, and he needs something, we need to know where to go get that.
he tells me constantly, he's not my son. He has told him
He is not my
before,
son.
He is your
Biologically,
son.
he is
his
not my
biological
son.
He's made comments to Gage before and makes
I have
comments
never
to me
said that to that
once
boy
he did on the
ever
phone.
once. She's
Yes,
the
you
one that
have.
says it when she gets
No, I
pissed.
do not. He denies
always
him
says
in front
it.
of me.
But let me ask you this, though, Mr. Asenato, and I understand if you're not Gabe's biological father, I of course understand why you would say you'd prefer not to be paying child support for a child that isn't yours. But you do understand that the care that you provide, the financial support you provide is an important part
Absolutely.
of his quality of life.
And that boy would never
legally,
go
you've
without.
signed his birth certificate.
That boy
So
would never go
on
without.
his birth certificate, when he looks at the name, that's you.
Exactly, Your
But
Honor.
that
That's
should be
his
up
daddy.
to me. It shouldn't be governed by her. It shouldn't be governed by the state
Well,
of
it was up
Louisiana.
to you. You
Just because he
signed
can
it.
choose to
I should
win-
Voluntarily. What I want you to ultimately understand, and this is an important legal lesson, not just for you, but for men in general. When you sign that birth certificate, when you sign it, you are the legal father. You are responsible for the child support. And it's not as easy as waking up and saying, oh, you know, I signed this birth certificate, but now I have a doubt. It's not that easy. And you're living that now, and you understand that.
I do.
So, Miss Clary, I have to ask you, I must ask you, respectfully, are there any other possible fathers?
No, Your Honor. I love
Anybody?
this man. No, ma'am. I was, like I said, the guy he keeps claiming, we were on a breakup, and I was with the guy, I slept with him one time, protected, 2 months prior to my son being conceived. That's the only person I was with, and that was 2 months before my son was conceived. I don't sleep around. You're the one that I've been with. I have not been with no one else. Still to this day, I'm still with you.
And
I mean, 2 nights ago, we were together. I mean, honestly.
I'm not denying that.
But yet, you still call me up wanting to get together. And we weren't in a
'Cause
relationship.
I ain't got
we had
time to
8
meet
kids.
anybody else. How's that?
Mr. Asenato,
I'm-
come on now.
I'm just keeping it real, Your Honor. I don't
Come
go out
on.
to bars.
Your
I
Honor,
don't go out
I
to date.
caught him
Listen,
messing around
listen.
when I was
This is just
pregnant with his
convenience.
next door
Both of
neighbor.
Easy.
both of you, if you're gonna keep it real, let me keep it real. Everybody in this gallery, including me and Jerome, can see that you all have some type of bond, chemistry, relationship that's not going anywhere anytime soon. You all argue,
Honor.
fuss, and fight, but somehow you still end up together.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'm most concerned about is this little boy.
Absolutely.
I want him to
That's
know
what
the
I've been
truth.
telling him.
I'm concerned that he looks at you every day. You're his dad. He calls you that. He regards you as that. You love him.
Absolutely.
And yet you're running around all the time with doubt in your mind and carrying a level of anger and animosity towards his mother, which isn't healthy for him.
What? I don't let him
And
see
then still
that.
sleeping with her
Why?
anyway.
You do.
So, with
will
that
cuss me,
said,
call me every name in
I
front of
think
him.
it's time for us to get to the truth in hopes that we can find a healthy way to move forward. Jerome, may I have the envelope, please?
All right.
These results were prepared by
yeah.
DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Clary versus Asenato, when it comes to 4-year-old Gage Asenato. Mr. Asenato, in the case of Clary versus Asenato, when it comes to 4-year-old Gage Asenato, Mr. Asenato, you are not his father.
I did not sleep with anyone else. I slept with somebody 2 months prior.
Miss Clary, you had me convinced.
Your Honor, it was 2 months before.
We say in this courtroom, plaintiffs lie, defendants lie. But the DNA, it doesn't lie. It doesn't.
Again, I did not sleep with anyone. It was 2 months before.
Your Honor, that doesn't change anything for me or that child. It needed to be put on paper. I love him to death. I'd do anything for that little boy. I give up everything, and he will always have a father regardless who it is.
Thank you for that, Mr. Asenato. Miss Clary, you have the opportunity while he's still young to figure this out for him, figure out who his biological father is, find him, take the test, let him know, let him get involved. Mr. Asenato says he'll still be involved, and he's young enough that he can accept this. Ms. Prowl, now you're asking the court to award you $475 in back child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Should one of 3 men be identified as your baby's biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say your 6-week-old baby has 3 potential fathers,
Yes, Your Honor.
including the defendant, Mr. Morton.
Yes, Your Honor.
All of these men have been tested, and we will hear from them shortly. Now, Mr. Morton, you say that the endless list of men Ms. Prowl has slept with has led you all here to paternity court. You believe it'll be proven today that you are not her baby's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
What upsets you most about this situation?
Well, in this situation, I was under the impression that was, me and her pretty much against the world. I've come to find out that she's slept around with one guy, then another guy. I'm just perplexed about the situation. I don't know who the father is of this child. This is why I'm here.
Let me first hear how you met and how did you all get in a relationship?
We worked at a sandwich shop together. She was there about maybe a month or 2 before I started working there. So when I got in, she invited me to kind of go ice skating. Now, needless to say, come to the day that we were supposed to go ice skating, we didn't make it to the ice rink. She pretty much came back straight to my place. I don't need to go any further from there.
All right, so, Ms. Prowl, you started a relationship with Mr. Morton.
Yes.
And it was going pretty well?
Yes, the relationship was going wonderful in the beginning. Now, a couple of months in, I'm finding out there's another woman.
What evidence do you have of that?
On his Twitter account. He's talking to a young lady saying these things that I can't say in court.
Sexual things.
Yes. And he's supposed to be with me.
That's not true at all, okay?
Excuse me. We're going back and forth about it. I go through his phone. You're not supposed to go through my phone. That's not something you do.
Because that's my phone.
If that's
what do you
not
mean?
something I do, what right do I have?
When do I go through your phone? When have I gone through your phone?
It doesn't matter. I didn't start cheating on you until after. You cheated on me first.
How did you find out she was cheating, Mr. Morton?
One incident in particular, actually, I worked at a sandwich shop. We were running low on bread that day. There was another, location near where I worked at where I was sent to get more bread.
All right.
So I go into the sandwich shop. The guy, I think his name is Mr. Gaddis. He was going to hand me the bag of bread. Before he did so, he asked me, was I involved with Miss Prowl? Now, I told him yes. We had a little thing going on at the time. It wasn't very, very serious. Well, he was like, well, I hope you don't.
But you're listening to other people, though. You're listening to other people.
I hope you don't get too serious with her.
He doesn't,
because I have already slept with her.
He doesn't even know this person. He doesn't. Someone else just comes up to him, and I'm not going to lie, it is true, but what if he would have said some other things? What if he would have said some other things?
So
but what he said was true.
So you're proving my point right. I should have listened to it,
Were you cheating with Mr. Gaddis or not?
Yes, I was, Your Honor.
All right. Do you also believe he could potentially be your child's father?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Gaddis was not able to appear today, but he did offer a video statement.
Sex was great, obviously. You know, we ended up hooking up again after that, and seeing her walking around at the job, you know, made the chemistry even better. You know, she looked real good in a little outfit. Didn't know she was in a relationship. She lied to me, obviously. I don't think I'm the father, you know, because we only messed around a few times, and I didn't hear from her for months after that. I didn't know she was pregnant until Desmond told me in passing.
Wow.
Wow. So he's also been tested, and we're going to have those results revealed later on as well. But tell me, Ms. Prowl, a little bit about your relationship with Mr. Gaddis.
Well, Your Honor, there's really no relationship. We met at a party. I was drinking hard liquor. We were talking, just chit-chatting, nothing serious. And we went in the back and had sex, of course. There is no relationship because I still had feelings for Desmond, and I still wanted to try to work it out. But that was more of a one-time thing.
So it's okay for you to do that, right?
Please do not cut me
So
off
how
because you're
are
the
you trying to
person-
justify
Ms.
these
Prowl,
actions here?
when you want to make a relationship work, having sex in the bathroom at a party is not really the way to do it.
And that's what I told her. I thought that was obvious. Like,
So this Mr. Gaddis thing was just, like you said, a one-time thing, but it was
Yes, Your
during the
Honor.
time of conception, and
Yes,
so
Your
he could
Honor.
possibly be your child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So there's also a third person.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who is that, and how did that come to pass?
Mr. Laurie, we also met, and I do want to say for the record, I'm very remorseful for what I did because that was totally out of spite. That's what it was. I did it because I found out he was messing around
now
with
you're
someone
immature.
else. Excuse me. So I said, okay, you know, you didn't put a ring on my finger. You want to go talk to other people? Fine, I can do the same thing. So that's what I did, and I do feel terrible about the decisions I made because two wrongs don't make a right.
Right?
It doesn't make it
You
right for me to go
recognize
do
that this is three wrongs, though.
it. Yes, Your Honor.
He did wrong, but then you got him back, Mr.
Bye.
Gaddis,
Yes, Your Honor.
Threefold.
and then Mr. Laurie.
Yes,
so,
Your Honor.
wrong, wrong, wrong. Jerome, I think it's time we meet Mr. Laurie. Please bring him into the courtroom.
Okay.
So pretty much me and Mr. Lowry,
have you go up
we
here
were
so
both
I'm
on trash
waiting to
duty at the
stand.
job one day, okay? You know, and at one point in time, he seen that me and Miss Prowl had been involved. So he let me know that at one point in time that they met, you know, they slept together more than once actually.
All right, so Mr. Laurie,
How you doing, Your Honor?
thank you for being here.
No problem.
What do you have to add to this? You were intimate with Ms. Prowl,
Yes.
so you understand that you could potentially be her child's father as well.
Yes, but my problem with this is if you knew we had sex more than once, why wasn't I hit up for this? Like, why weren't I called?
Can I say something, Your Honor?
I'm talking now.
Can I say
Never,
something, Your
never,
Honor?
never. No calls, no texts, because I switched jobs. How we met at a party. We drinking, we go back in the room. Of course, what happens? Teenagers. After all this goes down, you know, we go back to work. I'm thinking of it like, okay, she works, we work together, we live close by each other. It's cool, you know, casual.
All right, so wait a minute. So you were sleeping with 3 co-workers from the sandwich shop.
Yes, Your Honor.
You contacted 2 of them to say you were pregnant, but you never contacted him.
Yes, Your Honor. But I do not want him to be my child's father.
Well, you can't control that, can you?
Possibly
You
could
act
be
like
the
you can pick.
father.
No one is talking to you.
Wow.
I didn't know you could pick.
Let me make something clear. If you having sex at the back of parties, in the bathroom, unprotected with everybody in the sandwich shop, you're not gonna know who your child's father is.
Your Honor, can I show you how everything folds? How
Please,
everybody
enlighten me.
Okay. I slept with Mr. Morton during our relationship sometime on the 17th, and I slept with him again on the 28th.
Okay, move on.
I'm on the red. When I slept with Mr. Gaddis at a party, it was around the 19th, and then again on the 22nd. When I slept with Mr. Laurie, which was a terrible mistake, was the 24th as well as a party, and then again at the 26th.
These dates are a little closer
So
than I thought.
they're a
terrible
lot
mistake,
closer,
huh?
and they're a lot closer in the date of conception.
Miss
So that's how
Proud,
everybody is.
Terrible
They
mistake.
I can go
are
back.
all right in the time of conception.
I don't know. Like, look at these
And
dates.
this-
They're
and-
dangerously
and
close.
this
They're
is
very
also
close.
stuff.
So when Ethan was born, were any of the men with you in the hospital?
Mr. Morton was in the hospital with me during the process of me giving birth. However, after me giving birth and they moved me to my stable room, he left and didn't come back. He took off work. Why would you take off work and leave me? Why would you do that? Where did you
sign
go?
the birth certificate, Mr. Morton?
No, he
No,
did
ma'am.
not, Your Honor.
And why didn't you sign it?
Because I would have been a fool if I've done it and without knowing that it's really my child.
At the time Ethan was born, were you aware? I mean, I know you had conversations with these men, but were you aware of any other potential men she could have slept with?
Pretty much she has a reputation. Like, look at that. Like, look, 2 weeks apart, couple days apart. Like, really, you've been a busy woman in that month. Look at that.
So, Miss Proud, have any of these men, have they been helping you? Has
No,
anybody
Your
been
Honor,
a part
no.
of the
And-
child's life?
How can I help
No, Your
if
Honor.
I didn't get a call about a child to begin with, though?
And why didn't you call him?
How can
Because
we
I
help
did
if
not
we don't
want
hear about
him
the
to be
kid?
the father. I didn't want him
But
to
Miss
know.
Proud-
It doesn't matter.
Excuse
If that's
me, I
my
didn't even
kid, you
want.
should have to
I didn't
call
even
me
want
to let
Mr.
me
Morton
know.
to know.
This is what
I don't
this
care
is what I
if
wanna
you
know.
don't want us to be together, because it's not like I even like you like that. But if that's my kid, you still supposed to let me know.
Are you good with kids?
It doesn't matter.
No.
Yes, I am.
No,
What do you
you're not.
mean?
How?
What do you mean? How would you know? How would you know?
How?
I have
How?
2 nephews.
So how do you
They
change
both
a
love
diaper?
me.
How do you
What
change
do
a
you
Hold on
diaper?
mean?
one second. Hold on. Now you got a young man that's passionate about knowing
Your
whether
Honor.
he fathered a child. No. You gonna hear this. Now you sitting up here grilling him, asking him, does he know how to change a diaper? None of you all are that far out of diapers. You don't have any business sleeping around, not protecting yourself. Now you question him, is he good with kids and he's this? Now all of a sudden you selective. When I'm looking at a rainbow-colored board that indicates that you don't even know how to be selective when it counts. Now, I'm gonna say right now, that's a lot of nerve to stand in this courtroom and say this man could potentially be the father of your child, but you conveniently couldn't even call to tell the young man because you didn't want him to be the father.
I know how it feels to grow up without a father. Like that's not cool, yo. Like I understand that
Okay,
because
now
my
we're
dad
going with
wasn't
a
around.
sob story
And then
now.
I have it's a
Now we're
possibility
going
to
with
have a
sob
son,
story now.
and you don't even
Now
call
we're
like
going with a sob story
yeah,
now.
whatever, man. Hey, it's real life.
Did you really suggest that was a sob story?
It is. He's not really like this. He's not genuine. He could care less.
Really? How would you know that if you never told him?
Is Mr. Gaddis, is he compassionate? Is Mr. Gaddis
He's not
compassionate?
even here, so why?
No, but
that's
you
what I
know
was
him,
just
right?
about
Since you
to
don't know
say.
me, but you know him. So is How about
He's
Mr. Morton? Is
here?
Mr. Morton compassionate? Like since I'm
No,
just
all
like
he
the devil,
cares about
you know?
is his video games. That's
You
it.
haven't shown
But is he
me what
compassionate?
It
Don't
doesn't
answer the
matter.
question.
me. No.
It does not matter.
Why should
All
I
you do
redirect
is
my
sit there and
attention?
play the video.
You brought a witness, and I want to hear from her.
I did.
Miss Turner, am I correct?
Yes, Your
Please
Honor.
step up to the podium. And please state your name.
Ashley Turner.
All right. Now, Miss Turner, you are Miss Prowl's
Neighbor.
And what do you have to add to this?
Well, from my understanding, all 3 of them being some real deadbeat daddies.
Okay.
It's a percentage that is your child. It's a percentage that it isn't your child. Regardless, until you know, no one should hold it against this child.
But your point is you don't feel like any of the men truly stepped up. And that would be Mr. Gaddis and Mr. Morton because Mr. Laurie didn't know.
If you ask me, I have been Ethan's other parent.
Taking me to my doctor's appointments.
I've been to doctor's
ultrasounds.
appointments.
She was also there.
She
don't
done
really
labor
know you like
at
girls.
my
Does he
house.
help me
Who
with
are
the
you
groceries?
even?
No.
No, I didn't know she had friends. Like,
Miss
who?
Turner, thank you for your testimony. You may be seated.
Thank you. Please sit down.
Miss Proud, I want to understand your $475 suit.
I have receipts and some more proof
Jerome,
here.
will you hand those receipts to me, please?
Didn't know you were a bookkeeper.
I keep all my receipts
keep
because
all-
you don't help with nothing. He doesn't buy nothing, Your Honor.
He doesn't know if he's the
He
father.
doesn't go
That's not obvious to you? How do you want money if we don't know?
Your Honor.
I better hear you take some responsibility yourself for where you and your baby are today. I'm not saying saying they got it all the way right. All of you silly. Because you're teenagers, you're young, you have no business even having babies. If you don't require that they protect themselves, guess who is the only one in the equation that can end up pregnant?
I can, Your Honor.
And when all of them can say they have doubt about whether or not they're the father, who doesn't have doubt about whether they're the mother?
I do, Your Honor.
Exactly, and that's what teen girls don't think about when you're laying around with little boys because you think you cute, up at parties, having a ball, turned up, and now you're turned out by yourself. Let's go to the results. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Prowl versus Morton, when it comes to 6-week-old Ethan Morton, Mr. Gaddis is not the father. In the case of Prowl versus Morton, pertaining to whether or not Mr. Morton or Mr. Lowry is the biological father of 6-week-old Ethan Morton, it has been determined by this court the father is Mr. Morton. Are those tears of joy or just relief?
I do feel remorseful. And can I say a couple of things to these gentlemen?
Yes.
I do apologize for, I'm guessing you did want to know. I do apologize. I do apologize to you for cheating on you. If you want to be here with me and the baby, that's fine. If not, I totally understand.
Mr. Morton?
Well, I came here knowing that there is a possibility that it could be my child, which is completely fine. You know, I take care of my business, okay? So I don't have no problems, you know, if it is mine. But as far as me and Miss Prowl, unless we're talking about little Ethan, we have nothing else to talk about.
Mr. Morton, she has submitted $950 worth of receipts. She's suing for $475, which is half of that amount. And you are legally obligated to pay that to her because you are responsible for the care and upbringing of your child. Are we clear?
That's very clear, Your Honor.
So the judgment is for the plaintiff for $475.